Thank you for listening to the Content Magazine podcast, Conversations with Silicon Valley's Creatives. I'm Daniel Garcia, your host and the cultivator of Content Magazine, published by SV Creates. Hello, welcome to the Content Magazine podcast. I'm Daniel Garcia, the cultivator of Content Magazine, and we are here today live in the Sofa studio with Dan Fenstermacher, who is a professor of photography at West Valley College and, in my opinion, one of the best street photographers here in the South Bay in San Jose. I've always said that about you.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
He's actually a recipient of the Content Emerging Art Award in 2020-something.
23.
23.
Yeah.
23.
It's already been 2 years.
Yeah. Wow.
Time flies.
Yeah. All that money spent. Yeah. Well, cool. So, thank you for being here today. So we're going to talk about photography and, of course, one of my favorite subjects and all that kind of stuff. But I am super curious about, because you're at West Valley College.
Yep.
But you started out as just a little Dan out in Seattle.
Yeah.
Then you went to school in Idaho.
In Idaho, yeah.
What made you go to school in University of Idaho? What was kind of the impetus of getting you there?
So I went to Idaho because they had this Western undergraduate exchange program between like 4 Northwest states.
Oh, okay.
Where you could go at in-state price.
Okay.
And I happened to visit Idaho when I visited Washington State, and I really liked the Idaho campus, and it just felt right.
Yeah.
Sort of trusted my gut and just chose to go there.
Yeah.
And it was kind of far enough from Seattle to be away for college, but not too far that I couldn't drive home, in
Get
4
your
hours.
laundry done.
Yeah. Maybe for Thanksgiving, so.
Yeah.
Laundry's a little too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then you went, is that where you went to do for like marketing and
Yeah,
design?
for advertising.
Yeah.
Because I knew I had a creative mindset, and I thought I would go into making like funny commercials is what I envisioned, kind of like Doritos commercials for the Super Bowl type stuff.
Totally.
And then I realized quickly in the 9-to-5 suit and tie world that was not what I had signed up for.
Yeah. So you went there and you graduated, and then you ended up in LA doing a job doing kind of that kind of stuff, but it was more analytical database behind the scenes or something.
Exactly. Yeah, I moved to LA. I just drove my car down without a job and found one when I got there, and I started working in advertising, and it was just the common desk type job, Excel spreadsheets and emails and meetings and phone calls and tiny cubicle, and it was not for me at all.
Yeah.
So I kind of call that period my quarter life crisis because I was like, well, what do I do now? And so I started like looking into things like finding my way in religion and finding my way. I tried to go into the military, and I decided, you know what?
Didn't you go? Weren't you like in the?
I almost joined. I was like
a
signature away. I did all the tests and all the processing, and then I decided not to do it.
Oh, okay. I thought for some reason you had a couple years like with the National Guard.
What I wanted to do was
like
go and be a military photographer.
Oh, cool.
What I realized from talking to a lot of people is you're probably not going to get that job. Right. And you'll just be stuck infantry somewhere or on a boat somewhere and cooking in the kitchen or something.
They'll promise you it. They'll say, oh, yeah, totally, you could be doing that. You could be wartime photography. And the next thing you know, you're like just walking around with a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that I decided to just trust my gut once again. And a friend of mine at the time, my roommate, he went off to go teach in Korea, taught English for a year. And I said, that's cool. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to go try that.
Yeah.
And that actually gave me my first taste at being a teacher, and as well as getting to teach photography.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
cool.
That was a really wonderful blessing, and almost like a destiny thing if you take it that way, because I had never taught before, and I signed up to teach English, and they asked me to teach art.
Oh,
and
cool.
So,
how weird.
Yeah. So I was going to just teach English like everybody goes to Asia to teach English. And I got to teach fine arts. And I had a translator. One of the students that was studying English, the language of English, was one of my translators.
Yeah.
And because the art students weren't studying English.
Yeah.
So I had to have a translator. Yeah.
So then, and were you doing like art history and stuff like that? I mean,
all just, composition, exposure.
Yeah.
And then I got to teach other subjects too, like sketching and drawing and painting. And I had never even studied these things or knew what I was doing. So luckily, there was a guy named J.T. Shelton there who I became good friends with, who was also teaching abroad like me. And he actually had studied art at a small college in Kentucky.
Oh, yeah?
So he kind of showed me the ropes, and then I would like go to the college, to class and pretend like I knew.
Can you draw, though? Are you a pretty good drawer? Or?
I'm actually a decent painter.
Oh, yeah?
And lately
Yeah.
I've been getting into painting in the last year.
Yeah, cool.
So
right.
I've been enjoying that. I wouldn't say I'm good. I would say it's more of a...
But you have a little bit of like talent in it, and so
Yeah.
you just need to spend the hours probably, right? To
Yeah,
grow.
I have an eye for it, and I
Yeah.
have the... I can layer, I can do texture, a little bit of shadowing.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I just need to put in some hours.
Yeah, it's cool. So then, did you grow up doing art? Like, when did you even get photography? Where did you pick up your first camera and start doing that?
My mom actually gave me my first camera, which was a little Polaroid iZone,
Okay.
and it just like tiny little thumbnail Polaroids.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was my first memories with photography. I actually even remember telling my mom that I want to be like a photographer or like a director or something
Yeah.
to do with cameras when I was young.
Yeah.
I think I saw a lot of movies growing up, and I remember like going to the Cinerama in Seattle, which was like the IMAX before the IMAX.
Oh, yeah.
And I just remember like, oh, that's so cool what
Yeah.
they're showing, what they're making with a camera.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think that's really when I kind of knew I wanted to do it. And then the more technical answer is my stepdad came into the picture around when I was 17, and he was a photographer.
Oh, cool.
Sort of a hobbyist photographer. He had studied photography at San Jose State,
Oh, really?
and that's what got me to actually go to San Jose State.
Oh, really? Because
Study-
you had that seed had already been planted, or you knew about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I came down to visit because he was from Los Gatos, and
Oh,
I
okay.
kind of fell in love with Santa Cruz and
Yeah,
California.
totally.
The
Yeah.
weather alone, the Seattle weather is tough.
Yeah.
A big reason I left. So, yeah, he kind of got me my first camera. I remember we went on a trip to the Galapagos, and I borrowed his camera so
cool.
much that he was like, "All right,
You need
get
to
you."
give my
Yeah,
camera back.
yeah, exactly.
Let's quit using my equipment.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So I didn't know that. Yeah. So there was kind of like that connection, because then you were in LA, and then you did Korea and China. You were teaching, right?
for a year.
And then that kind of like when you were there, you just said, "Hey, I think I wanted to get a master's so that you could pursue more kind of like teaching and photography at that point," or what was the?
Yeah, basically, I kind of after China, I kind of was like, all right, I'm gonna just sell all my things and just go travel the world and photograph for indefinitely and just see what happens. And I ended up going to Australia for 3 months. Got burned out, kind of doing that. I did like this program where it used to be where if you're under 30, you could get a year-long work visa in Australia.
Oh, cool.
So I did that. Kind of got burned out. I was doing photography for this pop-up company that would go to a mall and just set up, and then everybody that walks by, you're like, hey, come take a free photo.
okay.
And then you try to sell them the
Upsell
photos.
them, yeah,
it was
yeah.
kind of a scam in a way. I think they ended up getting shut down later on.
Yeah.
But I did that, and then I went.
That's good practice, though, just like having to interact with people, right? Strangers and all that kind of stuff, which is, important for photography.
Yes, I guess it's all in a way. Everything leads to one. Everything has a reason and a purpose, and it sort of gets you going in the right direction.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think I could build upon the skills I learned there. Is definitely learn what you don't want to do.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Like,
Sailing.
I'd rather be photographing all these people in the mall shopping than like trying to pose their baby. So.
Yeah. I did actually, too, when I first started out. I started doing photography, and then I don't know why or what I did. Oh, actually, because I was I don't know how. And I worked at Sears Portrait Studio for a while.
Oh, wow.
And same type of thing. Like you
Where
do the
was that?
picture.
Was that
It was in
in
Eastridge Mall.
Oh, in Eastridge.
Yeah,
Okay,
so I was doing that, and it
You
was
remember
good.
Life Touch, the yearbook photographer?
Yeah, the
I
yearbook.
did that for a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah. That's crazy.
It's kind of probably similar to the Sears.
Yeah, the Sears thing. And actually, then I assisted a guy who did a bunch of sports photo type stuff too, where you go out to the field. Yeah, and that was the same type of thing. I was like, I don't want to do this. Yeah. But anyway, okay. So then that's what got you. So that's how you ended up hearing about San Jose State. Is that through your stepdad?
Yeah.
He's like, hey, I'm going to apply. I mean, you must have looked at different master's programs, but San Jose State was like already calling you, leading you, or.
Yeah, I actually only applied to 2,
Yeah.
believe it or not, and I got into San Jose State on my first try too. They waitlisted me, and then they said, okay, you can come. There's a spot for you.
Yeah.
The other one I applied to was like Cal State East LA or something, and I never even heard back yes or no from them.
Oh, yeah.
So who even knows?
Is
what
that even a
happened
real
there.
school?
It might have not. That might be why my
San
information
Jose
is on the
State
dark
created
web.
that to send other people so they could split. So okay,
Yeah,
so that's cool. So then when you started doing, so then you came to San Jose State, and then you're definitely more focused then on photography because you did your Australia kind of around the world trip and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, like you seem to have a real kind of like you've gone to Cuba, you've gone to Mexico. I mean, like you do a lot of, you like to travel.
Yeah. I'm a curious person.
Yeah.
And traveling is like, it makes you feel alive.
Yeah.
And I love it. So I've been lucky to been to a lot of countries, but it's also something that I make a priority and make time for. And, it's something I budget for.
Yeah.
And, I can't recommend it enough,
Yeah.
Everybody should travel.
Yeah. So then what do you have planned for this summer? Because imagine you don't have to teach. Are there summer classes that you have to teach or anything like that? Or
not this summer, no.
Yeah,
I'm doing a few different things, like a faculty retreat, stuff like that, for prep for the new coming semester. But this summer I'm going to go to Japan for a week.
Oh, nice.
To Tokyo. I've never been, and I've always wanted to go.
Dang, visually, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be so stimulating. And yeah.
So I'm going to my plan is just to go to Tokyo and just street photograph every day for 7 days there.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I just got back from New York City to a PoloCon conference, which is more of a party.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah.
So,
that's cool.
Yeah, it was amazing. I've kind of really fallen in love with instant film photography in the last few years.
Yeah. And then was Cromwell, I think, was there.
Yeah, Cromwell.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any other Bay Area cats?
Yeah, Brian Brooks, who runs Underdog Film Lab.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
and
Brian.
He runs the SF Instant Photo Walk.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, he's a cool guy.
And then the instant film guys from Texas were there.
Okay.
Daniel and
I think
another Daniel.
I think I met. Yeah. So, Dan's doing photography.
Yeah, there's like 4 Daniels who go to the SF Instant Photo Walk on a regular basis. So we have our little crew of Daniels.
I got to get back into. I mean, that was great. That one time we went, I had a great time. But even last year. I can't remember this last year. Something happened. I had to do something. So hopefully I'll be able to make it back.
Yeah, there's always the next one,
Yeah.
in September.
So, okay. So when did you really start getting into, when did street photography really was that always kind of like your kind of niche, or what was the? Now
that I look back on my earliest photos, it was.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of didn't know it at the time.
Yeah.
And I kind of came into grad school doing everything from landscapes to architecture to
because I think when I met
portraits.
you kind of wanted to. I thought you were thinking in terms of like commercial photography.
Yeah, I was thinking definitely in terms of like fine art, commercial, sort of
photojournalism too. Like you did that series of. I can't remember what the series was. It was some people in their homes. Was it people with cancer or something like that?
Well, I did a series on elderly folks at a senior citizen home in Costa Rica.
Okay.
I did a residency there.
Yeah.
What else? I did a series actually with journalism with a drone. I started getting into drones.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. I don't think.
It ended up winning like an award for some national journalist
that's cool.
magazine. I have it in my office, and I was like, oh, that's interesting.
That's cool.
Did
it come with money?
I think it was no money.
Just a plaque.
Just a plaque. Yeah, something for the wall. But I think it was because drones were sort of new at the time.
Yeah.
It was like the original DJI. Mavic.
That's cool.
So,
that's cool. Yeah. Okay, so street photography always. Well, that's the thing. I'm kind of curious, like the photo journey, because I think most photographers, for the most part, right? Like you start getting the bug, you start taking, and you kind of just start roaming around, taking pictures, and then you start doing kind of street photography. It seems like almost every photographer has like a street photography journey, but you have kind of like paved the way and stuck with it, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like paved or stuck with it. I think consistency is key. That's a big thing. It's just continuing to improve.
Yeah.
But what I did in grad school was I did a lot of my thesis was on obsessive compulsive disorder.
Oh, okay, that's
and mental health.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
so I was using flash to photograph those portraits.
Yeah.
And then I started to adapt the flash to the street.
Yeah.
Once I started to get into street photography.
Yeah.
And those two kind of molded together into a really interesting combination, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think there was, at the time, Street Photo SF, which is now sort of defunct, but that was like a annual street photography festival in SF.
Yeah, kind of like PoloCon, but...
Yeah, exactly, PoloCon, but for street photographers.
Yeah, cool.
And so going to things like that, I really got to start meeting cool people like Ken Walton, who ran that, and that kind of really sparked my my bug for street photography.
Yeah,
I did a
yeah.
workshop with a group called Full Frontal Flash, which is like a collection of international flash street
Sweet.
photographers.
Yeah.
And then later on, I ended up getting invited to join them.
Nice, right on.
Who now I'm a part of. So
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, things like that. I think that's what makes a photographer good, is staying curious and trying new things.
Yeah, yeah.
And whether it's new lenses, new cameras, new film types.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even this past weekend, I learned a bunch. Like I learned how to make cyanotypes out of my black and white Polaroid negatives.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was amazing. So you can
Black and white Polaroid negatives. So are they still making Polaroid negative film?
Yeah, they've
Though Type 55 was doing it for a while.
the Impossible project.
They're doing the pull apart still?
Not the peel apart, but just regular Polaroids that are all enclosed with the chemistry.
Oh, I think I've seen that. No, but it gives a positive with a
this one,
negative.
so this one you take like an I-type film.
We're gonna geek out on photo stuff
or a
real quick.
Polaroid 600 film, and I already forgot her name, but she showed me. So you cut the sides, the three sides of it, peel it apart. It has to be within 10 minutes of the photo being taken as well, by the way. And then you peel off the negative from inside the Polaroid.
Okay.
And then, you have a negative.
Huh. That's cool. I'll have to YouTube that.
And then basically we put it on, cyanotype paper, coat the paper, put the negative on there, some glass over it, leave it in the sun for 10 minutes, and then throw it in water, and
it comes out.
you got your...
That's cool.
Yeah. And
that's fun.
So I just learned that this weekend, so that was really awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So then your style, though, is very... I mean, there's... a lot of the work, there's like comedy. I mean, it's definitely the decisive moment. I mean, like some of the images that you get, like, they're kind of crazy. But there seems to be you kind of like are looking for kind of like, are you intentionally looking for something that's kind of funny? Or are you just looking for quirky? Or what would you say like you're like looking for when you're walking around with your flash and you're like scoping people and walking behind them?
Yeah, I think definitely funny and quirky moments, weird moments, also moments of emotion as well, like whether that be happiness or love or a kiss or a fight, anger. So also emotions, also information, whether it be an outdated sign.
Yeah, okay.
Whether it be, I look a lot for contrast and juxtaposition.
Yeah.
I think my best photographs have three of something happening.
Okay.
So whether that's kind of like three little points of interest or little stories that kind of come together to make the whole picture.
Yeah, okay.
I look for layers a lot.
Yeah.
And I try to just get close to.
Yeah.
And then the flash adds that contrast, the punchiness, the saturation.
Yeah.
And it really gives it that sort of, I would say, unique look.
Yeah.
That most street photography is from, available light. I would say 80% of the photographers shoot, non-flash in the street.
Yeah.
That could be wrong, but
actually, a lot of them seem to use flash. I think what's cool about using the flash is like, what it does is it gives it a focus.
Yeah.
And also, I feel what it does is it takes a moment and makes it a little bit surreal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's not a natural kind of, and I think that's what's kind of like
makes you think.
Subconsciously attracts you to it, and especially like you said with colors, right? I mean, then it just gets the pop of colors, and
I was just photographing the annual fashion show that you guys sponsor. At Silker at West Valley.
Yeah.
And one of the photos of the model coming into the tent, I flashed her and I had a 1 second exposure and I walked back as she was walking towards me, and it looks so unrealistic. It looks like I photoshopped in this model. Yeah. So the surrealness aspect of it really works for me.
Yeah, like you're saying, you don't do a lot of like there's so many different technical kind of like decisions you can make. Like you don't do a lot of like long exposure with the flash, so there's more motion, right? Normally your stuff is pretty crisp and moment, and you're catching things in the air and stuff like that, right? With fast shutter speed and.
Yeah, normally I shoot around like 2/50th or 3/20th of a second shutter at f/22 to get the depth of field, and then around ISO 5 to 2000 in that range.
Oh yeah, it's like 2000,
Yeah, so I normally shoot with a faster shutter and try to freeze. I like to get things crisp.
Yeah.
Well composed, crisp, and just clean.
Yeah, yeah.
And
what's the focal length you like? We have to geek out.
Yeah, of course. 28 millimeter.
Oh, 28. Yeah. That seems to be I mean, for street photography, right? Because you can get in close, and then you're still getting the surroundings, and gives like it. So 28. Yeah,
28 and 35 is good.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of. I mean, it's in some way, I mean, I know they say like 50 for 35 millimeter is normal, but I do think a little wider, like 35, is actually more normal because we have a lot of our natural is very large peripheral. Where 50 kind of cuts down. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, maybe that's why I like the 28 so much, because it really shows the whole scene.
Yeah, yeah. And it kind of distorts people too, like when you get in, right?
It does, yeah.
So if someone's got their hand out, it's like, woo.
Yeah. Like the 0.5 on the iPhone.
Yeah.
These things look a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So then you mainly do digital, though, for that. I mean, you're getting more into Polaroid instant film, too. But, what's for you? What's your kind of thoughts? Film versus, what's your kind of like, everybody always curious about this kind of stuff.
Well, lately, as everyone knows, things get more and more AI and fake. Like, a friend just sent a video where basically they made all these movies that were AI. And it was like, wow, Hollywood's cooked. They can just make a movie like this. But obviously Hollywood's not cooked because the artistry goes into it. But the more things go AI, the more I start to appreciate
the analog. Yeah.
And the more I, learn about photography and study photography and experience photography, the analog, the realness of the analog photo right there in your hand is just unmatched.
Yeah.
And
totally.
I would say, though, like digital is a lot easier.
Yeah.
And because obviously I can fail a lot more without, spending
totally.
$3 per photo.
Yeah.
So I would say I get better photos almost digitally, but I do really love the analog photos as well.
Yeah.
I just turned 40 and I picked up an old thank you. Yeah, it's good to be alive. So I picked up a Hasselblad and put an instant back on that. So I've been really loving that as well.
Yeah, totally.
So
that's a great. Yeah, when you think about it, especially when you're doing street photography, I mean, it's all about capturing that one moment that's never going to be able to be repeated, right?
You're right.
And so digitally, though, right? In some ways, you can make a collage. You could totally manipulate things. But if you're doing film, I mean, I guess you can scan it. It's still ultra-rated. Well, how much do you do? How much do you do post-production? If you're, would you remove something if it's distracting, or what's your kind of thought on that?
I mean, I remove some things. It depends what I'm shooting for. Like if I'm doing graduation photos or stuff. But most with film, I don't really remove anything. I just scan it and send it out.
Yeah.
With digital, I remove some things. A lot of times it's mostly lens smudges and dust spots and sensor spots and things like that. Yeah. But the way I remove things in my photos is through cropping.
Oh, okay.
And I think cropping is a huge skill set that's underrated, and a lot of photographers don't utilize it and don't know how to utilize it in its best capacity. Yeah. So I try to do a lesson on cropping each semester and for my students and show you can make the same photo through 4 different crops look completely different and change its meaning.
Totally, yeah. Just because of composition and angles and all. Yeah, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So are you really enjoying teaching? I mean, is it something that you...
I am, yeah. I think it's obviously like anything in life, it has its pros and cons and good and bad days. But when it's all said and done, I'm really blessed because I think any good teacher knows you learn probably more from your students than you actually teach them. And that could be about not just photography, but life in general. And I have students now who I keep in touch with, who are friends, and who even send me photo jobs for like the companies they work at.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Some days, obviously, students aren't the most receptive, or they're asleep and they're late, and it's excuse after excuse, and you want them to be, because this is my passion. I'm like, oh man, I want you guys to be into this, but I realize it's not everyone's passion. So sometimes those days you're kind of like, I wish I was out photographing right now. But
do you find actually? I would just think of my own insecurities. Like I would be kind of threatened by some of the students because they're like surprisingly good. Do you ever have something you're like, oh dang, like this person is like?
No, I wouldn't say I'm threatened. I think that's what makes me a good photographer, is that I know that I can learn from everybody, and I seek out that information, and it's a collaborative process of sharing information. So like sometimes students will be on the know of a new app or a new a feature. Like now there's software that you can use to fix the focus if you miss the focus.
Oh, yeah.
And,
it's crazy.
I mean, that's probably been around for a while, but then...
They're starting to perfect it.
Yeah, they're starting to perfect it with the AI, and so... Yeah, I think I never get threatened. I get inspired.
Yeah.
And I feel like photographers who get threatened are insecure.
That's me, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of people, right? I wish I feel like photography is actually easy because it's very like deliberate, specific.
Yeah.
It's math orientated, like shutter speeds you can learn easily.
Yeah.
What really comes down to it is, do you have something to say?
Yeah.
And how are you saying it? What are you trying to offer with your photographs?
Yeah.
And that's through a project and through a series. And so...
Yeah. Well, for you, what would you say if you had to look at your life in a big scope? What would be the message that you're trying to say with your photography?
The overall message would be sort of to find your why, find your purpose.
Yeah.
And I feel like, in a way, my photographs do spread joy, whether that's through making a funny picture that makes somebody chuckle or through a family portrait that they're going to cherish for many generations. I feel like in some small way I'm making a difference through my passion. And so I think my advice for others is find whatever genre or medium of art that you're into and just go for it.
Yeah.
I feel like too, people put all these famous photographers or historical photographers on these pedestals when really they're no better than we are.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think the way that's supposed to come across is that you can do it too.
Yeah.
And you just have to believe in yourself and be consistent. You have to put in the work. You have to have something to say, but there's no reason you can't be a Gary Winogrand or, a Susan Meiselas.
Yeah. It's good. I think the thing that you kind of showed, like you had a friend that was teaching in Korea and you're like, oh, I can go do that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the willingness to take the steps to go out and, you know what I mean, and to travel and do those kind of things. It opens up more doors and everything. Were you always like that when you were like a little kid, growing up, like in elementary? Were you always kind of the guy that was like, oh yeah, let's poke the bear or jump over the fence? Were you kind of like that kind of curious? And
I think so. I think there's always been a little bit of rebelliousness in me, if you can say, or
curiousness.
Curiousness. Explorer.
Explorer.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I always try to think, how did they do it, and what could I do as well that would make it different? What can I do differently, or what can I add to it? And like even just this past weekend, I learned from this guy that you just put your flashes on slave mode. And with my Polaroid camera, I can now fire all three of these off-camera flashes just through the slave mode by the one flash on the Polaroid. And that sounds so simple and easy and like a duh moment, but I'd never tried that. And just seeing somebody do that is like so interesting. And then taping three of them together to make one big giant
huge
one.
light.
And then just being like, oh, that's so interesting. And then trying it out with his setup. And I think, I've always been able to not be worried about getting rejected.
Cool.
So one thing that I just go for it, and I apply to everything and anything. At least that was my philosophy in grad school.
Cool.
And that worked in terms of getting me to where I am now. So I just go for it, and let other people worry about if it's kind of saying no or yes to you. And at least you're in the game, right? I had a professor, Brian Taylor, said that like if you're in the arena, you got to be able to take some no's on the chin and keep going and not get discouraged.
That's cool. Yeah, it was kind of cool. So then how long have you been then at West Valley? And you kind of came in as, was it just like a part-time instructor?
So I started there as a part-time online asynchronous teacher while I was also teaching at a high school in Menlo Park, East Menlo Park, East Side College Prep, actually, in East Palo Alto, but I lived in Menlo Park. And so I was teaching part-time, and then I got a call one day saying the professor, the full-time guy, had died.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Brian. And they were like, oh, can you come in and cover his classes? And I was like, oh, no, I'm so sorry to hear that. I can't because I'm teaching already here. But so they found somebody, and then his job became available. and I applied and I got the job. And so now I've been there. I just finished my 8th year full time.
At West Valley, it's been 8 years?
Yeah, already.
Dang. Then how long have we known each other then? Because I met you when you were at San José State still.
Yeah, so we've probably known each other at least 10 years.
Really? It's been that long?
Yeah, it's been a long time. Like, yeah, it's interesting.
You look younger than you did when I first met you, I think. You do, actually.
Thank you.
You seem
Thank you.
healthy. What have you been doing to... I know that you've been kind of like, you did like a detox, or what did you do? Like a diet thing? Or
diet, meditation, yoga, sleep, exercise, pretty much all the things. I'm sort of coming into my... what the gurus and the yogis call your conscious phase.
Okay.
So the last 40 years, I've realized I've been chasing things externally for happiness, whether it's, shoes or sex or whatever, alcohol. Yeah. And now I'm really realizing that, all that I need is within me. Yeah. And I'm finding my purpose in photographing. So maybe that's why I look younger. Maybe because it's summer break and I'm not stressed out right now.
It's probably all those kind of things. Yeah.
I just got back, like I said, a few times from New York. And every time I come back from a trip, I feel really refreshed. Yeah. And sort of a new lens on things back home.
Yeah, you got a whole travel. The travel rejuvenates you.
It does. It does. It really does. Some people, it tires them out. But for me, it kind of makes me feel alive. Yeah.
So by doing like, like kind of having your spiritual journey and stuff like that, what is that revealing for you for your artwork?
I think I'm becoming more in tune with the subject. I love running and gunning and snapping 1,000 photos in an 8-hour session, but I also like now kind of giving somebody a Polaroid and making a connection. Yeah. And I think, it's kind of making me more conscious of my own self, my own actions, the own way I show up. Yeah. I realize, how you show up really affects everyone around you. So just trying to show up in a good way. Yeah, totally. And I'm on the journey.
Being more present, or whatever they would kind of say.
Yeah, more present, exactly. Like not being on your phone when you're talking with somebody, and offering somebody to send them the photo. Yeah. And getting their contact info, and slowing down a little bit. Yeah,
I think because there are different ways, right, that people do street photography. Some of them are definitely the outside observer who's like coming in and almost attacking and then disappearing, right? There's kind of like a
stigma against that.
But then there's the other ones that are very like super friendly and even like don't even do real candids, pose people and do stuff. So where do you see your kind of like well, not even so much what you do or what's your desire to do, would you say, in that spectrum? What do you think, kind of all the above?
Yeah, all of the above. I think, too, we were talking about, like, how has it changed me? I think I've started to love, like, photographing everyday life, the mundane things, and seeing the beauty in everything. Because I would used to go to SF every weekend to every event and festival. Right. And that's kind of, like, almost in a way easy, low-hanging fruit, because the people are expecting and wanting to be photographed. Yeah. And now in regular everyday life, I'm really starting to see, like, little moments that matter. Yeah. Not just people drunk in a costume. Yeah. And those photos are even more powerful. Totally. Yeah. And I sort of lost the second part of the question.
What's your engagement? Do you like the outside fly on the wall capture, or the super engaged?
I'm in the middle. Yeah. So I like to laugh and smile, compliment people, make a joke with them. Yeah. I use the flash, as you know, and so I'm not afraid to announce my presence and say this is what I'm doing, and I'm not hiding or being sneaky. Yeah. And I think I have a good vibe or energy about me when I'm, obviously not every day, but when I'm in a good mood and I'm feeling good. So I like to, make jokes. Tell somebody they look good, and it actually makes their day. It maybe not makes their day, but
it's positive. Yeah,
it can make their day. It has the opportunity to. Yeah. So
do you show people the picture after if they want to see them? And
I show them. Yeah. And I've been enjoying as well, like giving out the Polaroids. Yeah. And I gave out a bunch in New York City. Yeah. Well, everybody does at those events. It's like one big giant
polo fest,
polo sharing fest. But it's really fun to just sort of I don't know. I like getting my work out there.
Yeah.
Lately, I just published a new zine, and instead of even charging for it, I was just giving it away mostly.
Yeah.
Because I just want my work to be out there and be seen.
Yeah. Well, tell me about the zine. What's the theme of it, or what's the?
So the theme is on the boardwalk of Santa Cruz.
Okay.
The title is 1907.
I saw you out there that one time when I was a
Yeah,
guy shooting.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. The universe, connects. So I did it with my friend and fellow photographer Edwin Carringay, who's a Santa Cruz SF photographer. He's in both spots.
Yeah.
And so it's on the life and daily life of the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk.
Yeah.
So we both have been doing long-term projects shooting that location.
Yeah.
And I met him there at the boardwalk, and we just started to become friends. And yeah, I proposed the idea of a zine. And
cool.
Luckily, he's a graphic designer, so that made that easy.
Yeah.
And we just made it happen. And so we're both continuing to do that. Now I'm expanding that project to do now the pier. So the boardwalk was made in 1907, so that was the title of that zine. Okay. And the wharf, the pier, was made in 1914. So 1914 will be the title of the next one.
Oh, yeah. So you're just going to do Santa Cruz every decade.
Maybe,
and then 1920 and then 1930.
Maybe. I mean, Santa Cruz is where I fell in love with California when my stepdad brought me when I was 18.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, all right, well, I'll apply to San Jose State because, Santa Cruz is my jam.
Yeah.
The ocean is very powerful, and it's... Yeah, it's just, you feel good by the beach.
Yeah. My wife's very much like, she's always like, I got to go to the beach, just hear the waves and all that kind of stuff. It's
a powerful place. So.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you have another, do you have like multiple then series kind of going on?
I
like
do, yeah.
You go to this spot to shoot and you're kind of like working on something in the back of your head, and what are those kind of things?
One is the Oakland A's transition from Oakland to Sacramento to Vegas. Oh, okay. So I spent the whole their last season in Oakland photographing. Oh, yeah. I went to about 20-ish games. Yeah. And now I'm starting to go to Sacramento games, realizing how far that is every time. That is a commitment. That's a journey, especially when you're tired after a long day and it's like the game's over at 10 and then you got to drive home. Yeah. But so I'm doing that, and then I'll continue to do that when they move to Vegas and make that into a book. Yeah, well, one day. That's cool.
Yeah, and it's so powerful, like to have that kind of vision of like seeing stuff. Because I was even thinking, like, when I was walking around San Jose last night, and I was thinking like, oh yeah, remember when this was like this, and that was
right.
Like,
it's changed so much, and I've only been here 10 years.
Right. I was just thinking like, I just never took a picture of this corner.
Exactly.
Not thinking that it's going to change, and now it's like so different. Right. And I do have some old photos that I did back in the day, and then like it used to be Woolworths, where Ross became where Local Color was, and so I used to go in there because they had like the counter, where they sold hamburgers.
It was Ross, and it was a mess.
But when it was before that was Woolworths, and they had they sold hamburgers and fish and wigs, and so I would go in there and shoot around, and then to be back over there when it was Local Color inside and being like, oh yeah, like I did a selfie with my camera in the mirror of this bathroom 15 years ago, and see things change and stay the same.
Isn't that amazing? Like the plain, boring corner photos become so interesting just because of the temporariness of everything.
Yeah, totally. Like some of the style of people's clothes, right? Yeah, almost in some ways make the picture more... Yeah.
Or the cord from the earphones, and now it's earbuds, and it's just like... Or the CD player, it's like... Even I've only been in San Jose since 2013, and I've seen it change so much. And it's like... I remember going to 4th Street Pizza.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Every Thursday night was like dollar well drink night. So
did you ever shoot at when South First Billiards was there? Because that would be a fun place.
Yeah, I shot there. Yeah. And lately I've been shooting all the old signs of San Jose.
Oh, yeah, cool.
And shooting it on Polaroid or instant film makes it even look like it's from the 70s, even though it's from 25. Because one day all those signs will be gone.
Yeah, I know, sadly.
So...
Okay, so you're doing that. Is there another series? So you're shooting that, and is there something else you're kind of shooting at the same time, more of it's, or just kind of out and about?
Yeah, for fun, I just have my cone project. So my Orange cone project, I've been shooting now 8 years. Yeah. And it started off almost just as a game, but I've actually made some pretty good photos that happen to have orange cones in them. So one day that'll be
that's cool.
A project or a published project.
Yeah.
And I'm going to Tokyo for a week.
Yeah,
so
fun.
I find I work pretty quickly. So even though I might be only in Tokyo for a week, I will probably produce enough content for maybe like a small zine.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I work. Because even in grad school, every semester I had a new project.
Yeah.
And people would try to tell me like, oh, you need to stick with one thing and one thing only for 3 years straight. And I'm like, well, that's not how I work.
You do your own thing.
Yeah, I keep it moving. So
yeah. So like when you're going to Tokyo, you're there for how many days?
7 or 8 days.
7 or 8 days, and then you're going to be shooting every. That's the whole kind of like the idea of the trip.
Yeah.
It's like to kind of.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just me and my cameras. I don't even plan anything really. I just show up,
walk around, and see
and
wherever the wind blows you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
Those are my current projects.
Yeah.
I also, because I'm at West Valley so much for teaching, I'm pretty much there, 5 days a week. So I photograph every day I'm there. So one day that'll be a project.
Oh, yeah. So you're shooting like the students or just like the life around the campus?
Yeah, students,
and stuff like that?
the hilarious gooses that walk over. There's a lot of events at that school for different cultural events. Like for, what is it, Dali for India. And they have Day of the Dead for Mexico. So they have a lot of different events for the students.
Yeah.
They'll have lowriders on campus. Yeah. They'll have, world-class musicians come. So I'm like, there's an amazing opportunity just to photograph here. Yeah. And I used to think, I need to live in SF, or I want to live somewhere where it's hopping. And it's like, right under my nose, it's hopping this whole time. I didn't even realize it.
Yeah, just changing your own perspective and vision.
Yeah,
in some ways, it's like, New York is like easy to shoot.
Yeah.
It's like easy to get great images in some ways. And even San Francisco, when you go to a big city, there's just so much going on, so much juxtaposition, so many layers. And some like you were saying when you go to like an event, like if you go to FurCon or whatever, you're going to get some interesting stuff. Mm-hmm. But then to try to do that.
Can you do that at a regular neighborhood at 2:00 on a random Tuesday?
Right. Can you just go to a regular park out in suburbia? Yeah. Can you go to a grocery store? Yeah.
And I've been liking photographers like Saul Leiter lately and appreciating their work of just like, a beautiful drink in the sunlight or, something, a random shoe on the street.
Yeah. I forgot what photographer talked about that. He was saying like, I think it might have been, wasn't it one guy's name, Andrei Kushka or whatever? I can't remember the name of the photographer. But it was very much like saying like he feels like his responsibility is to be able to be anywhere with anything and make a great photo, right?
Yeah.
And that was kind of like, that kind of challenged me. It's like, so there's no really bad... I mean, there are, if you have an assignment and they want like something, you know what I mean, there could be bad. But for the most part, to make a beautiful photo, it could be of anything. And you see that, right? Like I'm always amazed. You see an image and it's just like painting on the street. And yet you look at it and you're like, oh, that's really beautiful.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And like, what is it that, have you figured out what is it that makes something a great photo?
That's a great question. Wow, that's a great question. What I like to share with my students is this photographer, Craig Semetko, said the photographer's diet. And diet is an acronym for design, information, emotion, and timing.
Cool.
So
awesome.
You can ask yourself, do I have a good photo if those 4 elements are present or not present?
Yeah.
And 1 is easy to get, 2 is a challenge, and 4 is really hard.
Yeah.
So that's one way to approach that question is, design, composition, like
totally
leading lines or rule of threes or Dutch tilt or whatever you want to call it. Information, like does it show 1937 Miller high life whatever ballpark? That's information. Emotion is something like a kiss or a fight, tension, which is a lot of in New York. And then timing, the decisive moment. So I think those things make a good photo. But ultimately I've realized great photos come in pairs, I think, because the more you do a project, the more you have something to say, and the more your photographs kind of grow and talk to each other, and the sequencing matters, and that kind of gives your photographs a whole nother life when they're seen as a body of work together. So just like that boring photo of the corner that was just a Walgreens that's no longer there becomes interesting.
So that's cool. I've seen that too. I've always kind of actually fought with that a little bit. Like the having an image and then me looking at it and be like, and then seeing 2 of them together and being like, oh, but I like this better. And then I'm thinking like, man, I'm just kind of like, can't decide. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so you're saying that you feel like almost like a series is stronger than a solid photo, or what do you
in some ways, in some ways, a series is stronger. That's what I try to get my students to do, because everybody can take a good photo, especially now with the iPhone.
Yeah, you can trip over something, the shutter goes off, and like, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah. So I think now the goal is, okay, can you make your photos into something that is aesthetically and thematically related?
Yeah.
And that's really what I'm trying to sort of get across to the students.
Yeah, totally.
And also, speaking of students, is like we go on photo walks around campus or even in the classroom or the studio we'll be shooting, and they'll show me stuff, and I'm like, that's a really interesting way of thinking of this, and I never thought that.
Yeah.
How did you do that? That's amazing.
Cool.
And another friend of mine, photographer Dan Fenstermacher, he shoots out of focus all the time on purpose, and makes all of these amazing, dreamy, artistic, fine art compositions of, people in the street, but they're all blurred out.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah. So I've been really enjoying, kind of expanding what my own definition of what a good photograph is by looking at all these photographers, from my students to my friends to the greats of the past.
Yeah. What would you say for you? I always like to ask, people that like are artists, just what part have you found like this is your voice and this is kind of like what you do, and then what part of it is like that is just become kind of like habit and you're safe with it? What, you know what I mean? Like, how are you expanding what you're doing? How do you change? And you know what I mean? Or do you think you've kind of found like this is kind of my style? Like, your friend who's shooting it out of focus.
Yeah.
Right? Definitely, it takes a different eye to do that. Mm-hmm. But is he locked in a voice? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I've kind of really found my voice with the flash and the 28 and working candid scenes in public. And I kind of go branch off and I'll try different things, but I kind of always come back to the flash. And I think with the flash, I'm sort of able to make photos that I think haven't been seen before. I mean, obviously, there's that saying, everything's been photographed, but not by you. And so I think what gives my photographs interest is the use of light mixed with the composition and the storytelling that's going in the composition. It's like those three things kind of ties it together. Because just like I was saying, it's easy to get one of the elements of the acronym of diet, but it's hard to get three. And four is when you have a masterpiece on your hands, or a good shot.
It's amazing. It's amazing just to even like, the timing, right? The subtle little things, like, right? I mean, I'm sure you do that. You're out in the street shooting, and you have somebody, and they just happen to kind of halfway blink in the middle of it or whatever. It's like, being able to predict that, see that, it's kind of like
Lately too, like I noticed, to be a good street photographer, you got to use all your other senses too, besides just your eyes. So, hearing and like seeing what's going on around you. Even tasting. Tasting that delicious food and seeing what, getting that moment when somebody's eating the food and that emotion. It's like all those little things kind of come into anticipating the shot. Like when the subway starts coming up and you hear that rumble and people start to stir, it's like, all right, it's time to go. And so using that, using your hearing and anticipating has been interesting.
Would you say that's what you've kind of like learned over these last years, is that anticipating and then the multi-sensory?
Anticipating. A lot of times if you miss a shot, and the person will actually come back and do the same thing again if they're sort of, like say they were standing on a corner and waiting for a train and they like picked their nose or something and you're like, oh, I missed it. A lot of times they'll
come
do
back
that
and do
again.
it. So creatures of habit.
Creatures of habit. So that's one thing I've learned. Also to sort of like, we're all going to miss those great shots. And it's like the quicker you can get over the disappointment of missing it, the more you're going to allow yourself to capture the future opportunities. Because if you're dwelling on that missed shot, you're going to totally miss the next one.
Have you found though, like when I don't do as much street, of course when I was younger I used to do a little bit, but like but even sometimes like when you're out there and you're trying to get something, and even if you miss it, you witnessed it, and even that makes you happy and smile. Do you ever get like do you ever get like that little joy of like Oh yeah, like that was cool. I wish I would have shot. But then you're like that moment of life you rubbed against it, and it's like, oh, that was cool.
Yeah, totally. Like in New York, these guys were in a taxi cab, and they were all flipping off everybody in the street.
Yeah,
like all the people in the cab were flipping everybody off, and on top of the cab was a sign that said, "Give us the finger," and like my camera wouldn't focus.
Yeah.
And because I was using the Instax wide, and it has an autofocus feature, and it wasn't finding the focus because the car was moving, and I was like, well, I still am glad I got to see that because it was hilarious.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so New York.
Yeah. Then there's the other moment too where you do it and you feel it, right? You feel the diet.
Yeah.
And you get it. And you're like,
and before you even look at it, like, oh, I got it.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Sometimes I get fooled too. I'll do that, like, oh, I got that, and you look back and like, oh, well, actually, I didn't. I thought I did.
Yeah, like,
but I'm happy to think
the students say that all the time when they come back and they're on the big monitor, like, oh, it's not in focus. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. So what about
zoom in on that screen?
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess when you're shooting a lot too, right? I mean, because you do good things, like, I mean, I do a little bit more. Well, I do the more portrait-y types. So, like, I might, if I'm going to something, I might already have a preconceived notion of something. Do you ever, like, have that kind of, like, download them and look at them, and you had, the experience that you had was awesome, and then you're looking at, and then that's, like, very disappointing, or kind of like, and then you have to kind of, like, search for the one, or do you put it down and then come back? Because I know sometimes having more time in between the creation process, you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, that's actually pretty good. I don't know what I was thinking before. So what's your kind of like editing, viewing, emotional
journey? I try
to
look like maybe within a week. I try to look at what I shot.
Do you download it first and then leave it, or do you like look at it all? I mean, of course, because you get so curious.
Well, I do a bit of the chimping while I'm out there, so I already kind of know what my good shots are before I even get to the editing process.
Yeah.
And that's another thing is like being a teacher and looking at so many photos, I'm pretty quick at knowing if a good photo is
the potential is there.
The potential is there. And sometimes the potential needs to be through the use of cropping. Yeah. Not too much, but a little bit, obviously. Yeah. And so I like to come back. I used to go, shoot all weekend, and then that night I'm like wanting to see, and now I just wait about a week.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Yeah, I wait about a week, and a lot of stuff too I don't even publish. Like, I'm not shooting. I mean, I'm shooting all the time, and I'm not posting or publishing that frequently. Maybe once or twice a week. So some stuff I've been posting lately was like years old. Yeah. And when you definitely have a different lens on it when you look at it years later. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Good. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so you just put out the zine,
1907.
1907, and then we can find that on your website?
Yeah.
Or where do people track that down if they want to get their hands on a copy?
I've actually gave away all of mine. Okay. But right. Edwin has like 50 left, he said. So, yeah, you could just contact either of us if anyone's interested.
And what is tell the camera all your websites and Instagram info?
My Instagram is at Dan Fenstermacher, and my website is danfenstermacher.net.
That's super. .net. That's a little trick. That's good, though. We need to know that. Yeah, that's cool. Cool, awesome. Well, thanks for spending time. Anything else that you would want to share before we head out?
Well, I wanted to ask you some of the same questions. Because you're...
I'll let you have one, because this is about you.
Okay.
One question.
All right. Well, I'll ask you the same question. What do you think makes a good photograph?
I think you nailed it. I mean, I never thought about it in that ways, but I remember just even when I get an opportunity to talk to new photographers, and when I look at stuff, I'm always like, well, you don't have a design element in it, right? I'm thinking of those kind of things. And then definitely the timing which is so hard to. Even if you're doing portraits, there's a timing, right? Of the
right moment, the right expression, the right connection.
Like it's in between, or there's a feeling that happens, right? So, but the emotion, that's good. And then what was the other thing? The information, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are some of your current projects? I know the magazine is your baby and takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I'm doing that. I always, I'm waffling back and forth. Like I want to shoot everything, but then I'm like, no, I got to let other photographers shoot it, and then I regret that, and then I want to shoot more. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to get it where I'm trying to involve more people so we can have more people do it. But I definitely want it to be more get a little bit more cutting edge-ish in what we're doing, the way the photography is being done, and even the layouts and stuff. So that, but in my head, I want to do a lot more abstract photography. So I've been trying to kick around that and haven't been doing it too much. But like your friend that's doing out of focus, I want to do out of focus, blurry stuff. I'm really attracted to like motion, like in trees, or what can you do? My big thing is like, you can't, because of the information, you can't help but look at a photo or anything, and your head is trying to make sense out of it. So what can you do with a medium that's so literal, right?
Yeah.
And what could you do that you don't know what it is, and you don't care what it is, you just like the feeling that you translate. So that's what I want to work on.
Yeah.
But I haven't done it that much just because of life.
Okay.
But that's definitely what I'm thinking, and it's kind of brewing up in me.
Yeah.
Of like, and I've tried a couple little things.
Keep nagging you till you itch.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. That's definitely what I'm thinking about. I'm looking at them, gravitating well, like even with people on Instagram and stuff like that. Oh yeah, I see what they did. That was cool. Yeah. So how could I do that? So I got some ideas.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
thanks
for all you do for the community. I think in grad school you gave me an opportunity, with content, and I got published. I think it was one of the first times I got published in a magazine. So
yeah. Well,
awesome.
I seriously, like I said, I remember, and I told you this before. Like you had applied to the emerging artist, the content emerging artist, and I don't get to make the decisions, but I was thinking like, oh man, I want him to win. Like he's one of the best street photographers. Like your stuff is like really good, you know what I mean? And I really like it. And I was like, oh man, and then finally you had put together a different sample of work or something like that, and the panel saw it and then like awarded. Yeah. Because you applied for a couple of years, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's your good attitude though, right? Like you were saying, like you just do everything.
Keep applying.
Yeah.
Keep applying. Like consistency is key. It might sound cliche, but it's true.
Totally.
And there's so many photographers who I went to grad school with, and I talk to them nowadays, and they're like, "Oh, I don't shoot anymore."
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
Yeah.
You gotta shoot. Like to me, it's like my passion, my obsession, my everything.
Totally.
So shooting every day, whether it's even just an iPhone snap. So consistency.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh, good. Awesome, man. Congratulations, and thanks for being here today. And we didn't even talk about this camera, but you're doing your instant stuff, so people can follow you with that. And have a great time in Japan, man. I'm super excited about that.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you. Pleasure. Sweet.
Thank you for listening to the Content Magazine podcast. Follow us on social media at Content Mag. Become a member and help us to continue to tell the stories of the South Bay creatives.